So this is the conversation podcast, and it's me trying to understand you guys.
You people, you guys.
Yeah, you people. I'm trying to understand this beautiful place that I am, the system here, how it works, the ways of life, why some things that is done look very awkward to me, and I'm sure there are things that I do that's probably very awkward to the other side too, and we can have fun. So we're gonna, if you don't mind, I have a lot of questions I want to ask you.
Oh, yeah, no,
I
I'm
hope
open.
you're open. Okay, so
open.
first, can you tell the listeners and viewers about yourself?
Yeah, sure.
Sell your market.
All right. Hey, everyone. My name is Nikki, NK, just Nick, if you listen to my podcast. I do have a podcast that's based in the DFW area called Petty Party Podcast. It's a great time, so make sure y'all follow us. Other than that, I'm in healthcare, so I'm kind of all over the place, honestly.
Nice.
And I am also Nigerian, but I was born here in America.
Will you see yourself being Nigerian, or you see yourself being American first before Nigerian?
I see myself being Nigerian.
Okay, before America, yeah.
I mean, I don't really consider like American ethnicity in a sense, you know? Like due to America being like this big melting pot,
Right.
I'm not going to be like, "Oh, I'm American." No, I'm Nigerian. Like how I was raised, who I grew up around, just my history. I connect with Nigerians.
Okay, so let's talk about relationship
Okay.
to start with.
Let's get into it.
Yeah.
My favorite topic.
I know, because you probably have a lot to say. Have you tried to date? Okay, so me for example, I'm a Nigerian, who was born in Nigeria, lived my whole life in Nigeria before I moved here to the States. So I am very Nigerian in my way of life, right? But I live here now. So there's a lot of things that you people, what I mean, you people, I mean, girls like you
Okay.
of American, or born and brought up here and live here, but of course Nigerian parents, there's a lot of things you guys do that, it's I don't know. So I want to ask some of these questions, but first, have you been with a guy a deep Nigerian background guy like myself?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, so most of my exes, which, I mean, I haven't had a lot, but
Well, how many, like under 10?
under 10, under 5.
Okay.
Huh? But doesn't matter the number. But regardless, yeah, so I would say like most of my exes, they have been like, I guess, quote unquote, Nigerian.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
They've probably been in the States like 3 to 5 years. Right. Yeah, so that's been most of the people that I have dated.
And what would you say is the most challenging, what's been most challenging about you, being in a relationship with somebody? I need you to be honest with me.
Yeah.
Tell me the most awkward things like they do or they were doing that you were like wowed about.
It's probably like 2 things for me. One was a lack of romanticism. I think that a lot of Nigerian men, they were born and raised to provide, like
Right.
I'm sure your fathers from the beginning have told y'all like you need to provide for your family. And so sometimes I feel like Nigerian men, as long as they feel like they're providing, that's all that they have to do. Whenever they don't realize that for a successful relationship, there has to be more than just providing.
Okay.
Especially since we're in a day and age where women can provide for themselves.
Right.
So, I mean, I am of age, I'm an adult, and I'm able to provide myself with basically everything I could want.
Right.
So whenever I'm looking for a partner, I'm looking for a partner that is, I'm not necessarily being able to do that and more, but just a little bit I need some romance.
Okay, do you mind like breaking the romance part that you said after they provide, they just think that's it? So
Yeah,
when you
so
mean romance, you want to expatiate, you want to educate us because I want my boys to learn. Do you understand?
so romance can be that I drink a certain type of coffee.
Right,
You might send a coffee to my house.
right.
Or that it has been a really long week. So you might book me like a spa day. You know that I like flowers. So you might send some flowers to me. And it doesn't even have to be like something physical. It can just romance can even be like in the form of emotional support.
Right.
I've had times where I've just been going through like a really hard time and I might express that to my significant other. And I just feel like the lack of emotional support's just not there.
Okay.
That's another thing. Nigerian men. Do they talk about their feelings? I'm asking
Are you asking me?
I'm asking you.
I think we speak. So this is this is how I'm going to explain that. We come from a place, right? From my perspective, because I don't want to give excuses to, for other people's. From my perspective, so in this interview, right, I will speak more from my perspective, and hope every other person's perspective tallies with mine. If that makes sense.
Yeah, you're gonna have some people that relate to you.
Yeah, because I cannot speak for every Nigerian man's perspective because my perspective will be different from theirs. But in honesty, I would think because of the place we're coming from, the society, the culture, the environment, Nigerian men are raised differently. We're raised to be soldiers. We're raised to be hard, tough. If you're going through something, buckle it up inside. If you're going through pain, don't worry about it. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, they think once they're able to provide, they don't see anything else. And that's almost the truth because we were taught to go out there and get it. So when we go out there and get it and bring it to the house is good. So that's how, most of us were raised. And there's no room for softness. There's no room for emotions. There's no room for being fragile. Because when you're soft, when you're emotional, the next guy is taking your bread. You know what I'm saying? So we bucket it up enough, inside and just putting it, the tough look. But the truth is, it also falls to trust. Sometimes we want to trust people. We want to trust you to be able to like just come out and tell you, this is what I'm going through. But in that same situations, 1 or 2, 3 times you've tried to trust this person or that person, you get burnt. So you're asking yourself, man, I really can't keep letting out the emotional side of me and still, and they cry. Trust me, they have their downtime. They cry. Men cry. I cry too sometimes. But if I cry, will I come out here and be? No, I wouldn't do that. I've been through stuff where I have to, keep a crazy face outside. When I get back indoor, I was, devastated and all of that stuff. But then I have to buckle it up the next day and go all out and get it done. So that's just a typical example of what my father dealt with, and he passed that same energy to me. And I have to keep up that same energy and say, if you don't stay tough, your family, especially the ones who come from a humble home, who has nothing, and they have to work their way up. That's the lifestyle they're used to. So once my wife is good, I can provide her the best of luxury she wants, the best of house she wants. And that's one thing about them. Once they can take care of you, we feel like that's the first thing we owe you as our partner. So once they're able to do that, we forget the other important things, like you say. So that's the summary of the society. It's what where we're coming from, that leads us to that.
So my question is okay, so kind of the same question that you asked me. Do you usually date women that are like from Nigeria, like born and raised in Nigeria, and they just moved here as well? Or do you necessarily go after women that are maybe Nigerian American, born here, raised here, of Nigerian heritage?
So, the first answer I'll give to that is I'm very attracted to black women, right? And it don't matter where they're from, as long as you're black, chocolate, that's what I'm attracted to. So, because I'm attracted to black, I've dated black women from. I love white women, but I've never dated a white girl. Not because of anything. It's just my preference, right? So I'm very pro-African, and I have a lot of great white women that are my friends, and I think they're also like amazing people. But with what I am, I have to be true to what I'm attracted to, my feelings. So, so whether it's Nigerian and American, or American and American, I've dated, across those three areas, and I can tell you the difference between being with a Nigerian, being with a Nigerian American, and being with an American. A Nigerian like the one we have back at home, a Nigerian American like yourself, and an American like is an American girl who is just an American girl. So I can tell you the difference between the three, and it's quite an interesting conversation. I don't know if you want to have that. But before we come to that,
Okay.
What I wanted to ask you is, do you think you try to talk to them in the sense that of your wants, your needs, those things that you expect them to do? Did you try to communication? Like, it's a key factor. Do you try to have that conversation with them?
Yeah, definitely. I'm a very open book, and I'm really big on communication. In the sense that, like, let's just talk about it. Let's get it out there. That way we can try to work on it. That way we can try to fix it. And to be honest with you, I don't think some of my exes saw a need to fix anything. Like, they're thinking, like I said, I'm providing really well for you. I'm taking care of you. I'm doing those things. So the lack of emotional support, it's just something you have to kind of deal with.
Right.
And I also think that is, in a sense, they're used to that, because I think Nigerian women, they just deal with things. Like, in Nigeria, I feel like sometimes it's a little bit harder to find a man of substance, like a good man to marry. And so once you're able to find somebody that, is able to provide for you, provide for your family, and, does those little small things, they're willing to put up with whatever else. Whereas I think here, we kind of have a little bit more options, And so...
Options? Okay.
We have options.
We'll come to that.
We have options. So I don't have to put up with just anything that you give me. Like, I just don't. Like, I have options, and I'm not desperate, and I'm not in a rush to just be with anybody. So I feel like there's...
When you talk about options, can you touch that a little bit?
I mean, I have options. I can date, even if I didn't want to date a Nigerian man.
That's what you mean by options.
Yeah, like, I have options. Like,
you can date American, Latino.
Exactly.
Right.
Even though, like, of course, my preference would be a man of, like, Nigerian or even just African descent. But there's a lot of options here in America. Come out.
Let's talk about respect.
All right.
Okay.
Let's get into it.
What does respect mean to you in a relationship?
Respect to me in a relationship is, I don't want to necessarily say equality, but
I mean, you can say whatever you want to say.
Equality in a sense that we're partners, like, we're partners in every aspect of things. And I'm going to respect your opinion. You're going to respect my opinion. And it's also about the way that we talk to each other, you know? I think it's really, really important to talk to each other with not only respect, but grace, you know? That's a big thing for me.
Okay. And I'll tell you what, some of my Nigerian friends who try to date the Nigerian American girl. They say you guys are very disrespectful. They say you guys are very stubborn.
I mean, I can maybe see a little bit of stubbornness, but I don't know about disrespect. Because let's not act like just because we were born here, we weren't raised around Nigerian parents.
Right.
Nigerian parents don't play, as we all know. So it's not like we were able to be disrespectful in our house. So I find it really hard to believe that a Nigerian American girl goes from being raised in a very strict, respectful household to now going to a relationship and disrespecting her significant other. I don't see that happening.
And the part where a girl could use a word like, "You're doing too much. I'm going to slap you. You crazy?"
Okay, so we can separate the "I will slap you" from the other two terms.
Okay.
I will
Okay,
slap
let's start from "you doing too much."
You're doing too much. It's just it literally is just a phrase. It's literally just me telling you, like, oh my gosh, chill out. Like, I was just kidding. You're doing too much right now. That's not disrespectful.
No, even in the context of maybe like a little argument and stuff, she says,
You're doing too much. Oh, absolutely. That's not disrespect. That's me telling you, like,
"That's
chill
to
out."
you. It's not disrespectful, but you guys have some little words.
So what's the difference between me saying you're doing too much and you saying you're exaggerating things? Or
No, it's different.
it's not.
It's different.
They mean the exact same thing.
It's different. In Nigeria, I could say something like in pidgin English.
Wahala. You say
No.
all your wahala. If you say all your wahala, there's no difference than
No,
me saying you're doing too much.
No. If it's the way it comes, you know what I'm saying? And in the context of how you use it, it's the situation. When you look at him and say something like, "Yo, boy," and yeah, boy, you're doing too. Are you really?
Okay. I mean, I wouldn't say boy because you're a man, of course.
Yeah, you say something like, "Boy, you're doing too much."
But I will be like, oh my gosh, really? You're doing too much now.
Okay, so that's why I said the context could be different, right? So if you say, "Oh, baby, you're doing too much," baby, you know what I'm saying? That's welcoming.
I think me saying you're doing too much in any context is really not that big
No,
of a
no.
deal.
If you say, "Boy, you're doing too much," to me, that's disrespectful.
Of course, when you add on boy, but just the words of you're doing too much,
But you
there-
agree that's the term
that what?
that is used a lot by Nigerian
but
American
it's
girls.
because it's literally like a term that means nothing.
That's why, in that context, where we come from, when you say a man who's a grown-ass man, you define him as a boy and tell him he's doing too much, he gonna be like, "Boy, you're doing too much." I don't know who's gonna embrace that.
Of course, but like I said, you have to take off the term boy.
Okay.
I wouldn't use boy, you're doing too much.
And the second one,
But I will, okay,
you crazy?
oh my gosh, that's not a big deal.
Wow.
Me saying, oh my gosh, you're so crazy. Like, you're tripping. You're crazy.
No.
That's not disrespectful.
No.
Why can't I say that?
You can't. We don't get talked to like that. That's what I'm telling
It
you.
literally is a term to just express how you're feeling, or just like it's literally like it means nothing. That's my question. Like, why do you all take things so seriously?
Because we don't get spoken to that way.
Why does it have to be? I don't understand why something just can't be like brushed underneath the rug.
No.
Why does it now have to be taken to the context of, oh, now this goes into who you are as a person, how you were raised, how, like now your culture, and it's not that serious.
A Nigerian man, right? Didn't grow up in an environment where his mom would ever ask his father,
Are you crazy?
Papa Benji, are you crazy?
Yeah.
There'll be problem in that house.
No. But see, okay, so my question is like, okay, so now that you're in America, now that you are open to dating, Black American women or Nigerian American women, are you able to,
Make the adjustment?
Yeah, make the adjustment whenever it comes. Are you going to still continue to take those words literal?
Why you're asking me to make adjustment, right? You also have to understand that you have to realize that you're dating me, or, a man like myself, and understand that there are just some words and some terms and some, qualifications that we're certainly just not used to, like it or not, right? But where I come from, you just have to respect it, or the background I come from. Just do I respect? I mean, the funny thing is, I don't use those terms on you, so I wonder why you won't just understand that it's not something I'm used to. I'm not used to my sisters calling their husband, asking their husband, "Are you crazy?" If my sister does that to her husband, I'm gonna you know what I'm saying? She's gonna be held accountable for that. My mom never spoke to my dad that way. Asked my dad, "Are you crazy?" So I'm coming to this environment, and you're trying to tell me it's normal for you to ask me if I'm crazy because I'm in America. So why you're saying I have to get used to it? No, I don't have to get used to it. I think you have to learn how to talk to me, and I also have to. Then I can now. Because you're saying get used to it. Get used to giving me bullshit.
I'm not saying that you have to get used to it, but I'm asking you maybe if you're able to maybe turn a cheek to that. Like, the thing is, I think this is where respect comes into play.
Exactly.
So if you know that your significant other respects you, like as a man, I don't think that you would really trip as hard on a word or being called crazy, like, and not even be calling, because she's not calling you crazy. She's asking, like, are you crazy? Like, are you okay?
It's still just.
There's no difference between saying, are you crazy, and are you okay? Are you mad? What's the difference? Don't we? So in Nigeria, do y'all not use, are you mad?
No.
So what's the difference?
Okay,
between that?
that's what I'm even saying, right?
So would you rather
In
her,
Nigeria?
So would you rather her say, are you mad?
In Nigeria, a wife, someone's wife, a man's wife, can never ask the man, "Are you mad?" I mean, there's a term we use, but that time is used. Maybe I'm having issues with my friends and all of that, right? Even in a regular man on the road, because one thing I know about Nigeria, men, we're very respectful, whether you like it or not, to women. I can tell you that. Yes, I can. I have never asked a girl, "Are you crazy?" I'm not even talking about my wife. I'm not married, right? I've been in relation. I'm not even talking about the people I've dated. I've never asked them, "Are you crazy?" before. Do you get where I'm coming from? I'm talking about back home. Never ever. Here, never ever. So it's the same way a girl looked at me and told me, "I'm gonna slap you."
And like I said, that is completely different. Like, whenever you now start to use words that are in a physical sense, that's different. Like, I think that is disrespectful automatically. But are you crazy and you're doing too much? I don't know. I just lighten up a little bit.
Another one, like, fuck out of here. Fuck out of here.
No, okay, no, I would not say that.
Like, fuck out of here.
Okay, that's completely different. That is disrespectful. But that's what I'm saying. It just depends on what kind of woman you're dating and like what kind of household they came from. I don't use those type of terms. Like, that's just not how I communicate. Now, I can't fault people if that's how they communicate. And I think it's important for y'all to find like a good middle ground.
Right.
And another thing is like to kind of go back to backtrack to where you're saying like, no, you need to adjust how you speak to me. It doesn't need to be you doing any type of adjustment. And that's kind of where I disagree. I think that there has to be a compromise between the both of y'all to be completely honest with you, because at the end of the day, we're not in Nigeria.
Right.
We're just not. Like, and I completely understand that you are a Nigerian man, but we're not in Nigeria. So you have to also be able to be flexible whenever it comes to the, like the environment that you are in. So to now come to a woman and tell her, forget how you were raised, forget your culture, forget everything. You need to talk to me how I want you to talk to me.
I think that's where you're also changing my narrative. I'm not saying.
But you did.
Okay, yes, I agree. I want you to talk to me how I want to be spoken to. You know what I'm saying?
And I also want to
vice versa.
But I also want to be romanticized how I want to be romanticized.
You're right. You're right.
If I come to you and tell you that, does that now mean that you have to do that?
No, listen. I want to be spoken to with love and respect.
Naturally.
Because I'm going to speak to you with love and respect. And when you use that term the first time, and I say, I don't like to be spoken to that way, I think that's where you need to respect it and don't use it again. You might use it and I'm like, oh, that's okay. You know what I'm saying? But when I say stuff like, are you asking me if I'm crazy? And you'd be like, no, I don't mean it. I'm like, okay, but don't use it anymore. That's not something. Then you need to try and make that adjustment.
Of course, you should.
Because again, these things I'm telling you is not something that I'm telling you not to do because I'm going to be doing it to you. I'm not doing it to you. You know what I mean? I'm asking you, I'm saying let's not communicate that way. You get what I'm saying? Because I respect you so much not to communicate with you that way. You get what I mean? So, so in other words, I think we should have better way. Yeah, it's what you're used to, your environment, your situations, your culture, your American system permits it. But it's quite different from where I'm coming from. But now we've decided to be together. That's where both parties need to start making adjustment. But when I get to say that I don't like to be spoken that way, but you don't stop, you continue, then we would have a problem.
Then it's disrespect.
Yeah.
I agree. I completely agree.
And that's where the problem always is.
I don't think so. I mean, I don't
because you in 95% of the situation they don't stop.
I don't think it's even a factor of being disrespectful. I think it's just being vocal. And I can kind of say that like I haven't necessarily had that issue with all of my exes, but maybe one ex in particular, he was very, very big on like control, and he wants to be in control of things. And so he looked at my voice or me speaking up on certain things as being disrespectful,
Right.
even though I wasn't saying it in a disrespectful way. But it's a simple fact of me saying anything at all. It's now looked at like
what does controlling mean to you? Because that was, I'm glad you mentioned it, because that's one part that I was coming after respect. I wanted to talk about controlling, because that's another time that I've always heard about you controlling. I mean, not me. I'm not saying it has not been used at me before. Yeah, in situations, and I'll tell you my own situation, and then it was time that's trying to be controlling, right? So, but what does controlling mean to you?
Controlling means to me whenever it's now getting to the point of like maybe it's unhealthy. Like, so let's say that you are now trying to control what I wear, where I go, who I spend my time with, different things like that. So I feel like that's more so controlling. And it's just whenever it starts to get unhealthy. Like, that's really what I look at controlling as. I don't know if that's how you look at it or what.
When you like to do something like go to a certain place, right? And he thinks that place is unhealthy for you to go.
Like what? The club?
Okay, I'll give you an example. Say every Friday night you're out, Saturday night you're out, Sunday night, you're out. It's Friday night again, you're out. Saturday night again, you're out. Sunday night again, you're out. And this man says, yo, you going out every weekend. I think you should slow it down. What would you call that?
I mean, where'd you meet her? You probably met her out. So
That's not the question.
But this is my
That's
thing.
not, I didn't meet you out. I met you the way a regular guy would meet a girl.
Out. In person. In a public setting. You probably met her out. And before you decided to date her, you probably already saw her mannerisms. You probably already saw that she is a frequent person that goes outside Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So my question is like, why even get into a relationship with her and you already knew what her habits were, and then you now get into a relationship and you want to change those habits? Why?
So you don't think a man who meets a girl, genuinely likes her and they're dating, you don't think he has a right to give advice or opinion on certain areas of her life that he probably thinks she should make a genuine adjustment to?
No, he's definitely able to give an opinion, but I think it's also important to know who you're dating. That's like me saying, I meet somebody and from the beginning I realize that he's a workaholic. He puts in a minimum of 60 hours a week at work, no matter what. That's just who he's always been, how he is. And then I decide to get into a relationship with him. And now we're in a relationship and I'm coming to him and telling him, you work too much. I think you need to stop working as much. I need more time. And I feel like that's kind of unfair of me to now come to him and for him to change up his habits whenever I knew that's who he was before I got into the relationship with him. So do I think that it's bad to say anything? No. But you can come at it like, you know, babe, I see that you work so much. You work so hard. Maybe you should start taking some more time for yourself. You can spin it like that instead of it being, I just think you need to stop. You don't need to be doing these type of things anymore. And so I think that that's where the disconnect comes into play whenever women might look at a man as being controlling because of how you put it. Now, if you came at it from, you know, babe, I see that you go out a lot on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You know, maybe you and I can both get into, you know, a new hobby. That way we can just try different things together. We can make new memories together. Boom. There's just certain ways that you can put things and you can still get your point across without it maybe hitting so hard.
It's almost sounding like the controlling term. I know controlling is genuine. I know when controlling is controlling. I think controlling is another level for manipulation and mental slavery.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? I think nobody should mentally enslave anyone, emotionally enslave anyone. So yeah, controlling is a very strong word, you know, and I know it does exist.
Oh, absolutely.
When people become very manipulative and mentally enslaving. But also, I think because it's a very sensitive topic, right? Or a very sensitive subject, I think it has become a means of people not wanting to be held accountable for their actions.
It just depends. Like, for me, I've had one ex that was controlling in the sense that he wanted me to leave my friends alone. Like, he wanted me to drop my friends completely.
Good friends?
Good friends.
Did they give you good reasons? Why you
just
think
he didn't like them.
The part is he didn't like them. Why didn't he
Because they didn't like him.
Why?
Because they didn't think that he was a good person for me.
Okay.
And so they might be giving me advice of, you know, this may not be the person for you. And in his sense, it looks like they're trying to get me to leave him. So he wants me to like stop talking to them altogether.
Right. And I'm sorry, some of my questions might come from a place of me really, really asking questions so that I can get unbiased answer, playing a little bit of a devil's advocate, so that it could be said, do it exactly how it is. What if indeed your friends were wrong, and he was just trying to like point something that he really needed you to see? Because life is what life is. In other words, your ex could be crazy, right? And your friends are correct about him, right? What if he is also not crazy? He is actually correct about your friends. And he was just trying to point that out. So the question now to you is, how do you measure the truth on the right decision to make? Is this man trying to say something that I'm just not getting? Or indeed, my friends are legit trying to warn me about a big danger that I should be aware of? Do you know what I mean?
Well, in that situation, my friends were absolutely correct.
Okay.
He was not the right person. He was not a good person.
Right.
So they were correct in that sense. And I think it's also important to gauge the type of friends you have around you. You can't tell me that, all of my friends, and I have friends that I've had very long-term relationships with, 15, 20 plus years with.
Right.
So for the most part, these friends are not going to do things of ill intent towards me.
Right.
Usually they don't even speak on my relationships at all. So the fact that they even feel like they have to come to me and give me advice about what they think, just whatever the case may be, that means that they're actually concerned. So yeah, I do think that there are some relationships where women, you're right, like they just give their friends bad advice. Or they might be jealous or whatever the case may be, but that's not always the case. And I think that it's less the case of than the friends actually just looking out for their friend.
So back to the point that I was bringing about the term or the word controlling being used as a means of people wanting to shy away from being responsible. I'll break that down. A girl who goes out every Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, is doing day parties during the week and all of that stuff. And this Johnny guy genuinely likes her. Trying to I do care about you. You go out Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night. You have these friends with that friends. And I know what you guys do. You guys get drunk, do a little bit of drugs and sleep, mess around sometimes. You know what I'm saying? But I really do want to be with you. I need you to stop doing X, Y, Z. And then she goes, you're controlling me. You're trying to be controlling.
I mean,
So in that subject, how do we validate? Because indeed, she's saying he's controlling him. And indeed, he's trying to get her off the wrong path.
I mean, that at the end of the day, she's an adult. So if she chooses to hang around these people and do these things and do these actions, that's on her. And it's not for you to come in and be Superman and try to save her. She doesn't want to be saved.
So
she wants to have fun.
If you say that, then it would be safe to say controlling is a word that qualifies being on the person involved. Because if she had taken his advice and stopped those things she's doing, then the guy is not trying to control her. But because she's undermanned of changing her ways, that's why she feels controlled.
That's the thing. I think it's just not the right example to use controlling in. I don't think it's controlling to be concerned for a person that you are in a relationship with. That's not. But
if she uses the term at that time, because she has a right at that point to use that word and say, dude, you're trying to control me. Because indeed, he's trying to get her off the path.
Then she doesn't really know what control is.
Exactly.
She doesn't know the difference between control and concern.
Okay.
To be honest with you. He's, from the perspective that you're telling me from the story, you're telling me that sounds like concern. That sounds like you saying
he's concerned, so he's trying to tell her to stop. So because he's insisting on her stopping, this is real story. This is real super story. A friend of mine was in this situation. We've gone to pick this girl on 3, 4. In fact, the 4th time he called me to come help, he was at work to go get her. I said I wasn't going. You know what I'm saying? So in this situation where he's very concerned, and then he's giving her an ultimatum to say, if you don't stop, we're not moving forward. And then she say,
You're trying to
you're
control me.
trying to, you know what I'm saying?
She
You're
doesn't wanna be-
controlling. You're telling me what to do. You can't tell me what to do. Da, 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 da.
She doesn't want to be saved. Stop trying to save the girl. Let her live her life.
So
She'll learn.
what if you say she doesn't want to be saved?
She doesn't.
Okay. Then
She wants
she's right to say the boy is trying to control her.
No.
Why is that situation different from?
No. Because that's not controlling.
Because it's the same action.
It's not controlling. Like, I think that's just a way of her to deflect and get the heat off of her. She's the one that has an issue, clearly. But she's just trying to deflect and tell him that you're trying to control me.
Yeah.
So that way that she doesn't have to be
But
accountable for her actions.
indeed, him insisting you must stop. That sounds controlling.
It doesn't sound.
But
it sounds,
it's
I mean, it sounds, like I said, it sounds concerning, because if you're telling me that someone is getting drunk multiple times a week, doing drugs, and then messing around with other people, that doesn't sound very safe, especially doing that when you're inebriated. That sounds like concern, doesn't sound controlling to me.
if he says something like, please baby, please, I need you to try and make amends. That's concerned, appealing concerned, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what you say it with love. Like, yeah, please babe. But when he says his words, I remember is, if you don't, you need to stop. If you don't stop, we're done.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when she said, you controlling.
Like I said, I don't agree with the girl's lifestyle.
Right.
So for me, it's very hard.
Yeah,
for me
because
to,
you don't agree with her lifestyle. That's
Yeah.
why this situation is not controlling.
Yeah, for me, it's hard for me to be like, oh, he is controlling, because she needs some help. She's not living right.
So the lifestyle determines if he's controlling or not.
It's not lifestyle. I think it more so depends on what the situation
The
is.
validation of the situation.
Mhm. Like, if you're telling me you don't want me around certain people based off the fact that you just don't like them, you don't get along with them, now I might look at you like, that's a little
That
controlling.
situation is
Whereas-
valid from your
Yeah,
perspective.
whereas if you're telling me I don't want you around someone because of the type of lifestyle they drag you into, then that's a different situation.
So in these two examples you've given, it just only means that the situation determines if it's controlling or not, or if it's rescue.
Yeah, absolutely. Like,
Do you see where I'm coming from now? Controlling is based on the perspective of the situation.
if you want to look at it like that, then maybe, but I don't think so.
Okay, I'll drop the controlling subject. Okay. All right, so we'll take a quick break and we'll continue.
All right.
What has been your best experience dating a Nigerian guy?
My best experience? Nothing.
Wow.
I haven't found my husband yet.
Ha! Hey, Lord. So, wait, there's nothing good about all the people you've dated.
No, there's good things about them.
I said,
But,
what's the best?
I mean, but the best? I mean,
What's the best experience of the less than 5 people you've dated?
probably like a surprise trip that was booked. And he took initiative to plan out like the entire itinerary. And I didn't have to worry about anything. Like, it was all taken care of. That was probably the best experience.
So what's the good thing about being with a Nigerian?
I think that being with a Nigerian man, for the most part, you don't have to be concerned about him being a provider, because I mean,
All we do is pay bills, right? Wow.
naturally y'all are going to provide for a family. So that's one good thing. And I think it also like it's just nice to have someone culturally who understands you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm looking for someone that was like my dad.
What's your dad like?
My dad.
I like
Well,
that.
um, my dad, he was a very gentle man.
Right.
Very gentle. Just very concerned for his family, for his friends. He was a leader of the community. He was very well respected. He raised, so like we have 4 girls in our family.
Mm-hmm.
He had 4 daughters. And you know how Nigerians can be. Like if you don't have a son, it's kind of a big deal, you know? And I feel like my father never looked at us as any less than just because we weren't boys or just because he had all girls. He still raised us to, you know, have respect, to make sure other people respect us, to be independent in the sense that you need to make sure you have an education. You need to make sure that you are able to provide for yourself at the end of the day. So my father, he was just a really, really good man. And you could tell because people don't have anything bad to say about him.
That's good. So now that you almost had nothing amazing to say about a Nigerian.
I was kidding.
Okay.
I was kidding.
Okay. What's the amazing thing about dating a Nigerian?
I said it. I said like, okay.
I mean, being a provider.
You said the best experience. Oh,
Yeah.
Amazing. What's the best thing about dating a Nigerian man? I don't know.
Wow. Is it that you've been with the wrong ones? I don't know.
It's not that. It's like
It could be that, don't you think? Maybe your choice of men.
I don't think it's a choice of men. I think it's like I don't think the Nigerian men are really that different from anybody else.
Right.
So it's not like I can look at Nigerian men and say, oh my gosh, this is why I date Nigerian men because they do X, Y, and Z. No, not really. Like for the most part, any man that is looking for something serious, they're going to be a provider. They're going to be respectful. They're going to do X, Y, and Z. And that's what Nigerian men do. But it's just a cultural difference. That's why I usually date Nigerian men.
Okay. And what's the bad side about dating them?
Conversations like this. Like, why do we have to have a conversation about the disconnect between you being Nigerian, and me being Nigerian American? You know, I think that these conversations almost further divide us in the sense that like we're still now not looked at as being, because it's so crazy. It's like growing up in America and being Nigerian, I was never American enough. And then going to Nigeria, I was never Nigerian enough. So I'm literally like
lost.
Yeah, I'm not lost.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, not lost. But I'm definitely like just torn in between. And sometimes it does get annoying in the sense that it's like you'll date a man that might have been born and raised in Nigeria and they'll look at you as less than. And so I feel like for me, that might be the worst part of dating a man that is from Nigeria, born and raised.
Do you think because the very culturalized nature of Nigerian men, that also plays like a factor?
What do you mean?
When I mean very culturalized nature, I mean there are just some things that, as a culturalized Nigerian man, they're big on some things like the way they want to be spoken to, the way they want to be treated. They for instance, yeah, and I think for a man who works so hard to take care of his home, that's one credit you must give to a Nigerian guy.
Absolutely.
If he's a fraudster, he provides for his family.
Absolutely.
I'm not a big fan of fraudulent people. If he's a doctor, he will provide. If he's a mechanic, if he's a driver, whatever he does,
he's going to provide.
He will provide for his family. That's one thing about them. So for a man who works hard on whatever he does to provide for his family, do you think it's easy to just come determine how you you think they will cut down on how they want to be respected or treated or be spoken to? Maybe that's where the clash just comes in.
The thing is, I think that Nigerian men have to stop looking at providing as like this high quality thing. Providing is the bare minimum.
So
Like-
would you have a man who doesn't provide?
No, I
And-
wouldn't, but that's the bare minimum. Like, you should be looking for someone who can provide, just like it's vice versa. Would you want to marry a woman that you don't think would be able to be a good mother to your future children?
No.
You wouldn't. But being a good mother really should be bare minimum, right? Like, that should naturally be someone that you're looking after. So I think that, like, I feel like sometimes just because you provide, now I'm supposed to like bow down to your feet and be like, oh my gosh, you provided for the family. Now I'm going to do whatever you want. I'm going to treat you however you want. I'm going to take disrespect from you, and I'm not going to say anything about it. And it doesn't have to be like that. That's why it's important to date someone that, one, you're attracted to, not only physically, but mentally, emotionally, and date someone of your same yoke.
How would you communicate not wanting to do something to your Nigerian man? Okay, for instance, you say, you want to go on a trip, you say, I don't think you should go.
He's telling me, or
like you want to go on a trip, and he says something like, I don't think you should go because you've traveled like 3 times lately. You know, I think you're traveling too much. I think maybe you should like sit this one out. What would you interpret of that, and how would you handle that? How would you respond to that?
Well, I would ask, why does he feel that way?
He said you've traveled 3 times already this year, and this is like you're going for the 4th time again with your girls. Like, he thinks you're not being prudent with money. You should slow down. And then you say, but it's my money. I'm like, yeah, I know it's your money. I think you should chill. It doesn't matter if it's your money or not. So he's trying to put his foot down and say he don't want you to go.
Does he not travel? I mean, it would really depend. Like,
I mean, he has not traveled, or he's not a traveler like that. But it's not about him traveling or not travel. Okay, let's say he has not traveled, and that's not what the case is. He just thinks you've gone to Bali, you've gone to Singapore, you've gone to Kabul. Now you want to go to Paris. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, babe, relax. And then, you're like, boy, it's my money. You can't tell me how to spend it. And they're like, yeah, I know it's your money, but that's not the point.
Well, I would definitely take into consideration why he is saying this to me.
Right.
And it's my husband. So, you know, I'm going to truly respect my husband's opinion.
Let's even say he's your boyfriend, so you're not husbands yet.
If it's my boyfriend, I mean, you really...
Be honest with your feeling.
I mean, my boyfriend really shouldn't have an opinion on what I'm doing.
You see, that's where the clash for the Nigerian man starts from. When you say, because I'm your boyfriend, I don't have an opinion on what you're doing, then we can never progress from boyfriend to fiancé or to husband.
We can, because the thing is, it's like, as a boyfriend, we're not sharing a home, okay? So for me, I look at it like this. If all of my bills are paid for, I'm not lacking in anything, I still go to work, you know, I have healthy and maintain healthy relationships, why can't I travel?
Again, you've traveled 3 times for the year. You're about to go on the 4th time.
Some people travel 12.
Okay. So that's where the subject we just finished, controlling, comes in. This man is giving a point of why he thinks you shouldn't go on the 4th one. Save your money and da-da-da-da-da. And you're saying you will go. And he's saying, I don't think you should. Would now go back to, he's trying to control me.
I don't think he's trying to control you, but...
It's because he's giving his opinion.
like I said, I really need to understand why. Like, what is bothering you so much about the fact that I'm traveling? It can't just be a money thing.
No,
Like,
that's what I've told you. You're traveling for the fourth time in 6 months.
Is it because
He thinks there's there are other things you should do or be doing. Maybe wait till the end of the year before you go, and then this is just you want to go again with your girls, and he's giving his opinion.
so? Is it because I'm going with girls?
No, but you're always going with your girls. It's a girl trip.
Yeah.
But this is a fourth trip in 6 months. Personally, I think that's a lot, especially when your career is not on tourism and traveling.
I don't think so. I think that it's really important to do things that make you happy. And so if traveling is one thing that makes you happy, and like I said, and everything else in your life is aligned and it's going the way it needs to be going, like I said, you're maintaining your job, you're maintaining your bills, you're maintaining a healthy relationship with your partner. I think if you want to travel, there's nothing wrong with that. And I also find it very hard to believe that she just started doing this many trips now that y'all are together. She was probably traveling like that before y'all were even in a relationship. So that's the reason I said it's very important to date people that you actually like and that you actually like their lifestyles. It's hard to be able to tell a person now just because you're in a relationship, you have to stop doing things that make you happy, especially whenever they're not hurting you. Traveling's not hurting you.
No, again, for the record, it's good to travel. Travel is a good thing. Like, you want to go travel, explore different cities and life and all of that stuff. The point here I'm trying to bring is the possibility of a partner who is your boyfriend or, your partner who is in a relationship with you. Because the truth is, I pay attention to a lot of details. When I cannot have a certain conversation with you when we're dating, the truth is we will never succeed with that conversation when we're married. People need to look. You can't change anybody. Anybody who does not work for you during the relationship on little conversations where look as you guys are going to break heads, trust me, stay away from it. So the way I am, I look at everything on business perspective, right? So when somebody wants to go on, especially for instance, you're a nurse, so your job has nothing to do with tourism or going on tours or traveling. If you're an artist, a musical artist, you're performing, you're going on. If you have a traveling business where but you're just going to chill with friends, and you're doing this every month, or in 6 months you've been to 5 different places, and you come back, you're going to work, and you say, if the guy is cool with it, that's okay. He might just be cool with it. But if he has an opinion about it, and he say, do you want to make an adjustment? Do you want to take some of this money and invest it into something and all of that? And that leads to a very serious argument because of his own belief of, instead of 6 trips in 6 months, do 2. You know what I'm saying? And take the other 4, put the money in a business that you can make profit of. And especially when this person, but anyway, that's it. And then you say, no, you can give opinions. I think that's a red flag.
It can be a red flag, but I also think
Not because the person is, what the very person is doing is bad. It's a red flag because you guys are going to have a clash in the future.
I agree, but that's why I say it's also important to date someone that you can get along with. Not everyone is business minded, and actually, quite frankly, not everyone is meant to own a business.
Of course.
So I think now to push off your beliefs of, oh, well, you should be investing this money, maybe that's not what she wants to do with her life. Maybe she is very content with making money as a nurse, traveling, and that's where she gets her joy from. So I don't know. I think it's one of those things where, like, now let's really talk about the real reason why you don't want me to go on this trip. Like, I think that there's other concerns there.
So in that context, how would you handle that situation when he says don't go?
Like I said, I would sit down, I would talk to him, and I would ask him his concerns, and I would make the decision for myself. Like, if he has valid points, like, oh, okay, like, maybe I really have been gone more than I've been here, and him and I, it's now affecting our relationship in the sense that
Right.
we don't get to spend as much time together. Okay, then yeah, then maybe I can really just chill out. I can miss out on this trip. It's not a big deal. But if it's not anything like that, and it's just he just wants me to invest in a business.
No, I mean that was just me talking out a point. Maybe maybe you just think he feels like you've been doing too much. Let me borrow the English, and he wants you to see it out.
Then, like I said, we can have a conversation about it, but it doesn't mean that I'm not gonna go.
Doesn't mean you're not gonna go. Wow. So his opinion don't count.
His opinion does count.
No.
Because I'm taking into consideration
Listen. I think you're being a little bit not like telling it the way it is.
That is the way it is. Like, his opinion matters. Like,
Why does my opinion matters if at the end of the day you're still gonna do what you want?
because I'm still taking into consideration. If your opinion didn't matter, I wouldn't even hear it. Like, I wouldn't even.
So you're just gonna have the conversation for just to hear me out, and then you still do what you want.
No, I would think it through. Like, I would really think it through. Like, if you and I, like, if you really feel like it was that big a concern where you have to come to me and talk to me about it and ask me like, hey, I really don't think you should go on this trip. I'm going to listen to the opinion, and then I'm going to now think it through and make a decision for myself. Just because I continue to go on the trip doesn't mean that your opinion doesn't matter.
No, but the last thing you said was I would think it, but doesn't mean I'm not gonna go.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, just because I still decide to go doesn't mean that your opinion doesn't matter.
And that's the part that scares me. When in 95 or 98% of that situation, you're still gonna do what you want.
What's the difference between that and, because here's the thing. Okay, so let's look at some of these major successful businesses. They've had partners that their partners are probably like, oh my gosh, like, you doing this investment is crazy. Like, I don't think that you should do this. Like, you're literally investing the last of our money. And what if that person had listened to their partner and was like, you know what, she's right. Like, I'm not going to take, our last $30,000 and invest it in this company, even though I think it's going to be successful. And then they decide not to do it, and they don't come up with these successful companies. It doesn't mean that their partner's opinion didn't matter. It just meant that in that moment, they needed to take that risk. They felt like it was important for them to step out on that faith. And I'm not saying that correlates with traveling per se, but just because you don't take your partner's opinion as the end-all, be-all does not mean that now you're being disrespectful. Now their opinions matter less.
And that's where another problem is from a Nigerian man perspective. When we're being treated this way, that's when we rebel. We like, no. And that's where the conflict comes.
So just because I still decide to go on a trip?
I don't know. Maybe I'll probably interview somebody on this show one day who's a Nigerian that will tell me, I'm being honest with you, that I think you're doing something wrong, and I constantly continue to tell you, and you just listen, but then you do it your own way. Anyways, there will be we can't stand that.
Traveling is not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. In a situation where the guy says you've done 3, 4, 5 already in 6 months, I think sit this one out. That's his reason. And then you're like,
respect your reason.
And then you still go. That's not gonna. There's no boy born in Nigeria who knows himself that would accept that. I'm not gonna accept that.
Okay, I understand that.
Do you understand what I'm saying? And I want to believe that 95% of the people back at home or in Nigerian guy back at home.
But
so that's where the mentality. Yeah.
I just don't see a Nigerian guy even seeing that as an issue.
An issue of you traveling 6 times in 6 months? No, they will. It's especially a man who who is raised a core Nigerian guy. He would just think you're doing too much. He would speak. He would speak. Not a Nigerian guy you're feeding. A guy who's working his ass out, providing for the family. That's where his arrogancy comes in again. I work my ass out. I provide for you. I do everything. I give you love, security, and everything, comfort. In my opinion, don't count sometimes.
It's completely different.
You don't listen
That's
to
the thing.
me
We're
sometimes.
talking about two different things.
No, in that situation, he gave an opinion that you still went against it.
But so the scenario that you gave was a boyfriend.
No, yeah, but
A boyfriend's not providing for a family. Like, we are living two separate
no.
lives.
Would you ever
And
have a boyfriend, a Nigerian boyfriend, and he never like looks out for you?
he looks out for me, but more than likely he's not paying all my bills.
No, but he still does something. I have girlfriends that I look out for.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Then that's a different conversation.
but then
if you're
again-
paying my bills, then okay, maybe you have a little bit more of an opinion or a say so in what I do with my money.
So my opinion on us dating or being in a relationship is measured on
what you're doing in
what
my
I'm
life.
doing in your life.
Absolutely.
Okay. That's one. Two. Do you think when you're in this relationship and he sees the level of quote going against his opinion that you're carrying out, do you think he would want to move past that to making you his fiance or making you his husband? Because this is where the clash of interest comes in these two people raised from different cultures. Not because this American girl is bad or this Nigerian American girl is bad. Not because this Nigerian guy is bad. It's a mental thing. They're both from... They're just both from two different worlds.
And if you feel like it's going to be that large of a clash, then no, you should not move forward with that person.
Right.
But I don't think that that's enough to cut a person out as
That's from your perspective.
And so that's what I'm saying. Like, so
from my perspective,
if it's that big of a deal for you, then don't move forward with it.
That's from your perspective as a Nigerian American girl.
Wouldn't say that's a Nigerian American perspective, though.
No, it is, because
I think that's a perspective for anybody.
No.
I'll be completely honest with you. There are Nigerian men born from Nigeria that would not have an issue
with you traveling. I don't have issues with my girl traveling. I don't. I promise you.
But you're saying that
if my girl travels 6 times in 6 months, is going out of this country 6 times in 6 months, we're going to have a conversation.
I mean, I understand 6 times in 6 months sounds like a lot, but what if it's not out of the country? What if it's just she goes to Atlanta or she goes to Miami?
We're going to have a conversation about
People have birthdays.
That's what I'm saying. We're going to have a conversation.
And we can have a conversation about it, but like I said, I just don't think it's enough to... There's so much more to finding a partner than you having an issue with them traveling. And so if that is like one of your non-negotiables...
I think you should see the traveling time or traveling. It's just an example of so many other form of clashes that could happen.
Yeah, but I just don't...
You know, I also gave the example of the regular weekends, birthdays. I give example of she's just taking her money, going shopping every day. And I'm like, girl, relax. They're like, but it's my money. No, I don't care. It's your money, but chill. Save this money because I'm already also giving you some. You know what I mean? Calm down.
I completely agree with you, but I think that some people... So I look at it like this.
Okay.
If she's a millionaire
Okay.
and she's shopping every day and you were a millionaire, a multi-millionaire, you probably wouldn't say very much. Now, if
No,
you
it depends on the level of shopping. You're shopping
yes,
every day as a
but what if
multimillionaire.
but let's just say that it's something that's reasonable. Like, but it seems like a lot, but it's reasonable to you because you have so much of an income coming in. Now, it might be a different conversation for somebody who is really working extremely hard for their money, and they, they're doing well, but they may not be able to keep up with the level of shopping she does. That's a completely different conversation. So I think it's just people have different non-negotiables, and I think it's important to stick to your non-negotiables whenever you're dating somebody.
Okay, so we can start rounding up. It is safe to say that when a Nigerian American and a Nigerian American girl and a Nigerian guy decide to come together, it is safe to say that they should first take time to sit down and discuss their backgrounds and their beliefs and the possible adjustments they are willing to make before they really, really go forward, right?
Absolutely.
Because there's so many situations that we've not been able to touch in this conversation that is happening, and it's messing up possible beautiful relationships that could happen, and I think a Nigerian guy and a Nigerian girl, when they succeed, because I've seen some that succeeds, they end up becoming so great together. But it's always like tough because of these different upbringings and background. So it's actually really safe to say, let us have conversations. And one of those things we should be willing to do, this is my advice to every Nigerian girl, would be, when you meet a Nigerian guy, you have to be willing to step it down a little bit. That's the adjustment part. Step it down a little bit from those things that you feel like you're bent on. Yeah.
So my response to that would be that no matter who you're dating, I think it's really important to sit down and have a conversation about what your boundaries are. If your hard boundary is you really want your opinion respected, and to you, respecting your opinion means going with what you say, then that's your boundary. And I think it's important to communicate that to your partner early on, and let her decide if that's something that she can and cannot deal with. I think, I don't know, I guess our opinions and what we have seen are different, because I do feel like I have seen very successful, extremely successful relationships from people,
of course,
that are born in Nigeria and people that were born
I said
here.
that. I said when he succeeds, it's really beautiful. I think I mentioned that.
Yeah. And I've seen a lot of them.
Yeah.
But I think that also goes with just having a partner that's open, and having a partner that's flexible, and having a partner that is willing to compromise. And not everyone is willing to compromise, and that's okay. But yeah, so I don't know. I hope that the division between Africans born in Africa and Africans raised here in America can hopefully narrow in a sense, and just know that we're all the same people.
Of course. So what's your ideal Nigerian? We gotta put you in there.
My ideal
yeah.
Nigerian man would be someone that not only respects me but listens to me.
Right.
And someone that is, like I said, flexible. I want someone who can be thrown in any room and who can make it work. And it doesn't matter if I put you in a room with CEOs or I put you in a room with mothers. It doesn't matter. Like, I want you to be able to, like I said, be able to hold your own in any room that I bring you to. So yeah, it may be a quote unquote Nigerian man is not the one who I'm going to end up marrying. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I guess we'll see.
Okay, so Nikki, thank you for coming to share your beautiful time with us. Please, for the record, I love my Nigerian American girls. I
don't know.
Why?
Not from the way you said these things, but okay.
No. This is me just dealing with general problems out there, trying to find answers to general problems, and understanding why we don't understand ourselves sometimes, Maybe there's some crazy things we do. There's some you want to share that don't make sense to you, because that's what this whole thing is all about. There are probably things that your exes did that you went like, bro.
No, to be honest with you, no. Like, I think that I'm a really reasonable person, and if we have a conversation about it and I'm able to see your point of view,
right,
it is what it is.
Right. So.
I'm not oh, you didn't listen to my opinion, then you don't respect me. I'm not like that.
Or you go like, boy, bye.
Yeah, all the time. Bye.
Anyway, so like I said, I love my Nigerian American girls. I love my American girls too, and I love every human. To start with, I'm pro-human, very pro-human. I'm also very pro-African. I hope we find what makes us happy. I hope we find comfort. There's nothing as beautiful as finding that person we are able to talk to. So I think at the end of the day, whether you're Nigerian, whether you're Nigerian American, if you're rude, you're rude. If you're disrespectful, you're disrespectful. If you're arrogant, you're arrogant. If you're stubborn, you're stubborn. If you're a goat, you're a goat. And all of these things I just mentioned does not make a successful relationship. You know what I'm saying? It put a bad taste in a relationship. So you might just be a girl that likes to travel every weekend, and you find a guy who just Nigerian guy who's okay with that. I mean, like, we're outside.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And everybody's outside every weekend. You know what I'm saying? That's what he likes. Or you might just be this American girl who likes to be inside. A Nigerian American girl likes to be inside. And apparently, the boy who you are with likes to be outside. And you'd be like, so it's not about Nigerian American girls always wanting to go out. Sometimes it's the boys who just want to drag them out. You know what I'm saying? I know crazy Nigerian boys who just want to go to the club every weekend and pop it up. And they don't even have a house. They don't have anything in their name. And
but
the girl would be like...
There's someone who are okay with that.
Some girl are okay with that. And there's some who be like, boy, you don't even have nothing. You're crazy.
But I would hope that would not be the person that a woman would date if they're not okay with it.
Exactly. So at the end of the day, it's about us. The key of this conversation I want us to pick out is, from when you say hello to this human being, the boy or the girl, start understanding who they are, how they think, how they move, and start asking yourself, does this work for me or not? If it doesn't work for you, move. But if it works for you, whoever likes to be outside, and you two, you like to be outside, whoever likes to get on the plane, whoever likes to take his investment money and go pop champagne, if it's good for what is good for the piper is not good for what's the other person? Whatever. So it's just us finding who fits our rhythm and who fits our blues. And because what's good for me is not good for Paul. And what's good for Paul is not good for Peter. So, Nikki, when are you getting married?
when I find the right person.
Like your dad?
When I find the right person.
Okay,
Yeah.
so again, I want to thank you for coming out, and I had a great time talking to you, and please don't make my Nigerian American girls don't like me.
I mean, that's all you.
Oh my god! Alrighty, so until next time, this is a Conversation podcast. Take care.